Santos, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
Now.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? You're a teacher. Get a pencil from school, you bugger.
I find them on the floor all over the place, man.
Here, I got one.
Kids
with
drop them.
Flowers and little lemons for you.
What the hell? What was that, man?
It's a pencil, man.
How long
Oh,
is
here.
that pencil?
How about this one? This
Oh,
pencil? I bet you that's what Jess. I bet you Jess says that to you too.
Ouch.
How long is that pencil?
January 29, 2024. It's the Castanet Podcast. Monday, 8:15 plus 3 minutes today. That's our usual time, 8:18. We'll let this load up. We got Short Fuse Mike, the Tolly, Jeremy Dragon Boat, Santos, Eric on the red with you. Another power hour talking all kinds of things, fishing. We've got a cool episode today. We're going to be talking barotrauma. Barotrauma, and who brought barotrauma back into the spotlight in the middle of winter there, Santos?
Yeah, go ahead. You can probably do it from your phone, why can't
We
you?
got the very famous Aaron Wiebe, man. He's back. He's back. And I think we
Comes out
got
of
him
nowhere
now,
and
don't
just
we?
comes out swinging, eh? Swinging, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on. As soon as you hit the link, it'll come up. You'll come on.
Aaron's in the green room right now. Mike's talking. We'll get him
Mike's
later. We're
talking,
gonna do the.
No,
we got
we're
some
live
music
right
and
now.
stuff. Yeah, we'll get the intro going right now. Welcome to the show, and
That's okay.
yeah, get your questions ready. Let's
For
get
you,
it
you
going.
do this anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, where's he going? He's going back there.
What's going on? It's the Castanet Podcast, January 29. Short Fuse, Dragon Boat. Eric on the red is in the house. Show's loaded up here right now. We got Jesse up in here, real life. I've got my popcorn and my fave bevy. What's your favorite beverage there, Mike Klatt? Don't even know what that is. What it is, he'll tell us in a second. Here, Alan Ali up in the house. Rob Mazer, Perry, Carlo Guzzi, Skip the Ridges, Mark Booty, Island Beach, Junior Banso, the Q1 champ with Mike Rivette, Real Canuck. There is an opening to cross the new ridge. Oh, there's the coordinates. Appreciate that.
New opening,
Wow.
eh?
Another one. This is crazy.
Wild, eh? Middle of January, and we're having people like dumping front ends and stuff like that. Appreciate that, Real Canuck. There's a new ridge. I believe that would be on the west side, probably. So, yeah, sounds good, man. Scott Miscavige has a big fish today in Beast of the Week. Listening from the skid steer. Nice. You cleaning streets?
How can you hear inside a skid steer?
Sasha's here. Mike Crew, what's going on, brother?
Loud.
Santos suffers from alarm trauma.
Alarm trauma.
Too much snooze bun, man. That's what it was.
Up to Patterson at 4 a.m. My buddy gets Brown. One less person is coming back. Andrew has been guiding everybody to brown trout except himself.
Except, yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's the perfect guide, man.
When's he gonna guide us to a brown trout?
Mark Bermet's in Cuba. We saw his Beast of the Week. Dustin C. Henry's over in Mexico right now. To everyone watching, Murray Hoy's actually watching from Canada this time. Strangely enough, he's here. Leon, what's going on, brother? Curling starts at 9. There you go. Perfect. Watch the show first. We appreciate you all. We've got Aaron Wiebe as our guest today. This will be his 4th time on the show.
Yeah, 4th. I'm not his favorite
time,
person right about now. He says I set him up.
He said him up.
You told me 8:30.
Actually, you did. I think I heard that.
I did. I said 8:30. It was my fault.
It's all good. It's all good. You know us. We just jump in here live. We'll get right into it, man. Shout out to Dusty Henry. I was just saying that in Mexico. Cool stuff here. Thank you, of course, to our sponsors, our Season 7 Hardwater sponsors, Pies West Campground, Team Fui Automotive, Eskimo Ice Fishing Gear, Big Smoke Barbecue, Gone Fishing, Tech Video Security, and Island Beach Custom Lures. We're down for another episode here today. Most of it's going to be on, well, we'll talk when Aaron's here, but he brought up barotrauma. Barotrauma back in the spotlight. We'll talk that.
Out of nowhere, eh?
Forward-facing sonar.
But it sounds like he's been doing it for quite a while, though.
We're making a comeback. Boy never left, bro. He's always been around. He's always been there, brother.
He's always
Looking
around.
forward to Sunday. Sheldon and Jim gonna make it up from Bismarck. They're gonna make it up this time. Everything's looking good. So we look forward to seeing you guys up here competing.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. He's got noise canceling, bro. That's what it is.
I guess we're gonna be wearing t-shirts and shorts on the weekend.
Oh,
it's supposed to be hot.
The Tully can take a dump anywhere he wants to that morning, man.
Gotta be careful though. CDP Nation here.
Speaking of dumping, look at.
See that, eh?
Yeah, man. Like,
yikes.
Dumped is like. So what would the Lake Winnipeg report call this one? It's a flat crack, you know?
Yeah.
Like and those are harder to see. We all know the ridges, but the flat cracks widen, freeze over. You know, they dip downwards like this. So I don't think there was any danger of like going to the bottom. No.
But he was actually in fairly deep water there.
Yeah. And supposedly he was following like two snowmobiles that went over it first.
Jeez.
And then just luck of the draw where he went after them, and there you have it, man. Brendan right in.
But how close was he to where that vehicle went in?
I think it's I think that's the same ridge. It goes all the way down
the
beach, going down towards Charlotte. Just be careful, folks. Be careful out there. Tower Tobacco is going to be suntanning on Clearwater, he says. Dusty Rhodes from Playa del Carmen. Appreciate you all still joining in. That is Dustin Cienri there joining in while even if you're on vacation, finding the time in between cervezas to watch the show. It was deep. No sub-level of ice. Followed me and down he went. Damn. I just supposed to show do not follow Dave Simpson anywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, glad you're okay, brother. Glad he's good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Hey, but if there's one guy you want to save you, man, that's Dave Simpson, man. He knows what to do, man.
Oh, I guess he's a fireman already.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
One more congratulations over here to CDP Nation, Jackie Grundy. She got an award. This is the biggest buck. First time awarded to a female since these things started in 1975. Now, I don't know what club that is or what awarding organization, but it's still an accomplishment nonetheless. I'm sure Jackie will tell us right now. Here, you tell us what.
Congrats.
You have hunting, panoramic outdoors. They
job.
know they're hunting. Appreciate you, brother. I could see that truck from where I was. Oh, that's that same crack. Be careful out there. Be careful. Be careful out there.
Yikes.
Anyway.
Crazy, man.
What do we got here? So we've got
in January too, eh?
We've got
kind of weather's this
fourth time fourth time on the show. I believe this was I think it's every 3 years. This was 2018 when he was there. We were live, and then I think we had Zoom in 2021. We were on Zoom. Now we're on something else here. This was the video that launched 1,000 conversations there a month ago. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. We'll do a little quick recap here. We're going to get right into it because we got a pile of questions to ask Aaron here about this stuff here. Bad fish signs exposed. So if you haven't seen the videos, so this top right is the barotrauma study put up by Angling Buzz quite recently, actually. And Aaron was like quick on it. Man, he was quick on the trigger right after with bad fish signs exposed and then continuing with debunking. I think he was fishing with Shane over there. They were catching little crappie and doing stuff in a tank, and then Aaron's got more on the way. So we'll ask him all that kind of stuff here. Might as well bring him on here now. Aaron Wiebe in the darkness.
There he is, man.
Hi, Aaron.
Can you guys hear me okay? I think I missed the makeup and mic check and everything.
All good. You missed the free beer in the green.
We're all good, bro.
Yeah, free beer.
Anyway,
see, look, it's 8:27. It's 8:27. So realistically, he's early.
Right on.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Mike set him up pretty good there.
It was my fault, 100%. Usually we do a bunch of blabbing like we just did for like 15 minutes. So
if I pause here, I'll be the one like, I don't know, my shaw's been acting up or whatever. So if I pause, just keep
going. Get that tooth back.
Man.
Keep talking.
You got to get that tooth back, bro.
Anyway, so Aaron Wiebe, if you're not familiar with who he is, Uncut Angling, arguably the GOAT. We still call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time there. as far as online content for fishing, and good stuff. Aaron, of course, from Manitoba, Howden, south of Winnipeg, homegrown talent. On a bit of a press tour. Would you agree, man, that you're on a press tour of some sort, or been like making the rounds lately?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say.
Like you're not actively looking to go whatever, but if people want to talk about it, it is sort of a cause that you're sort of championing at the moment. Would you say?
I would say that, yeah, like I guess about a year ago when I was running for politics locally, I definitely have a different mindset in terms of taking opportunities like this or whatever. I mean, the fact I haven't been on in 3 years, the problem is that the last time I was on, I said the next time I'd come on would be when I win a tournament again, and that was a very poor situation. No. But hey, over the years, like, you know how Jay is just crushing everything in the online universe right now? Well, Jay would always tell me, don't turn down any opportunity. And I was always like, well, I'll just do what I want to do. And I still pretty much have that mindset with things. But with some of the things, I guess, like you're saying with the education on barotrauma and stuff, I mean, there's no downside to expanding the conversation whenever possible. So I guess I am kind of on a press tour in that sense, I suppose. I'm not like trying to fish for subscribers or something, but I'm certainly looking to spread. I mean, I wouldn't call it propaganda. What would you call it if it's like propaganda kind of insinuates that it's not real, I think, right?
No, not propaganda, but you're getting
probably more of an educational the hard way.
HK influence.
Bringing the topic up there, bring it to the forefront of the conversation up there, especially. So when your first video came out there, I know those guys at Angling Buzz. I've done work with them and stuff, and I know Jake and Jeremy Smith and Jim, of course. And when I saw your video, okay, hold on, I paused yours. I got to go check this out and see what my first take on it is or whatever. And I went to go watch it. If you guys aren't familiar out there, you go check it out, folks. Like that one over here. And yeah, it stuck out like a sore thumb, some of the stuff they were doing, and it seemed like they had an angle that they were trying to show, that they made dead crappie basically, and they kept showing it. So and then I went to go back to watch your video, and man, you pointed out a lot of great points there. Have you had contact with those guys at all since all this stuff? This has been about a month now.
Yep, I've talked to quite a few people involved with that, and I just want to make sure that it's known right off the bat, because sort of what you just implied with one sentence there is where you said that they kind of had, like, I know you didn't use the word agenda, but it seems like you kind of implied that, didn't you? I feel like
they flat out did, bro. They flat out wanted to show dead crappie.
That is not something I ever have implied. I do not think that Angling Buzz or the MN DNR had any sort of a agenda. I think that all of the bias that showed through was unintentional. So there's definitely been some titles like Aaron accuses such and such or whatever. I am not doing that. And I don't believe that. I think that everybody on that side meant well and continues to mean well. So I don't want to put it out there that I'm implying that they purposely were trying to show specific results. I like the whole thing with bias is that it's unknowingly done, right? Like it's like you're biased, but if you knew you were biased, you wouldn't be biased, right? So that's why I'm saying that potentially their bias is what led them to make some of those mistakes potentially. But I think more so, especially after talking to people on the Angling Buzz side and the Minnesota DNR side, is that the production of that video just wasn't a good recap of everything that they had done and everything that they knew. Because talking to Jeremy Smith and seeing him do podcasts afterwards, when he says that he was aware of a lot of that stuff, I mean, he's like he's the top of the best of the best in the biz, right? If he says he knew all that stuff, it's like, well, obviously he knew all that stuff. He's not trying to save face afterwards. But the problem was that they put that video together and didn't really think about maybe covering all sides of it and adding in like a really important thing on the end of like potential issues and things that need to be done better. That's like a really key point to review for any scientific type thing. And they kind of left you with the feeling at the end of the video that they're full speed ahead and everything's good and there's no issues, which is what made me most concerned, is there was that kind of attitude towards it. And then the reception from the whole internet was like, oh, wow, what amazing research being done. And, of course, Angling Buzz has so many different partners in the industry that they had so many different people sharing it and giving it their 2 thumbs up. And that's how it, spreads and spreads and spreads.
It wouldn't have stuck out so bad. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
That's what it was like. You said it there, where everybody on the internet was saying that's an awesome video. What a great study to do, right? And then once you get somebody that really knows how to pick it apart on things that were creating a lot of the stress on these fish that were starting to float to the top, like the net, hitting the net. Like they would show one hit the net and then all of a sudden it just stopped dead and it just floated right to the top and just stayed there. So it was pretty good that once you watch that video and all of a sudden you put yours out, and like Eric said, you start comparing it to, well, then everything really stuck out like a sore thumb.
No, it really did. Like you said, that net, it was like, what, 3 feet wide. And then if you watch your video on the live scope, you see how far those fish had to like go horizontal out that way, like to really travel to get back down kind of thing. They weren't going straight down. So it really, like that net wasn't fair to those fish anyway. But I don't, like you said, those guys they're all good folks over there, and nothing against the Minnesota DNR and Angling Buzz. They're all, know them all, but like they really did set it up where, I don't know, man, they wanted to confirmation bias or not, where they wanted to show dead crappie. And basically the hypothesis was on their end is that if you fish a certain depth deep, let's say 35, 40 feet, you're going to have dead crappie. And then they go, oh, second half of the video, we're going to go fish maybe 24, 28. And all of a sudden that little segment was 3 minutes long. No, 46 of them lived. You know what I mean? Like it was just, I don't know. It's a 14-minute video and they set it up where it just, I don't know.
But Eric, you're still saying they wanted to show dead crappie. Remember,
they wanted to show. You're not going to say it. You're so political now. You want to run for office? I'm saying it. I'm saying myself. They wanted to show dead crappie.
No, I don't think they wanted to show dead crappie, but I think that they truly believed that barotrauma was that severe. So then when they went out and proved it, then they wanted to show their results that they were biased towards believing. But I don't think that they legitimately wanted to show that, because that makes it seem like they have some sort of agenda. And what would their agenda be?
Their agenda is to like ban fishing deep holes or something.
Get people to stop fishing.
Yeah, because they were tying it. They kept saying, well, this is how we're going to move forward with regulations and stuff like that. So it's great that we have studies like this, and then they started getting into, now it starts to get even more crazy when you get into like forward-facing sonar.
Another
too, right?
But another way to look at it is, all right, so they've got the fish out, they're measuring them, they're trimming the tails, they're, I don't know, plucking a scale, weighing them, throwing them back in the water, like just tossing them back in.
Yes,
but that's probably no different than any of us have ever done when we caught a crappie out of deep water. We pull it out, take a picture with it, sit there, look at it 3 or 4 times, take another picture with it, and then just throw it in the hole. Right?
Dives down.
Takes off, and then all of a sudden, we don't know if it's going to hit the bottom of the ice and stay there.
I think it's good.
Those ones were floating automatically. As soon as the person flipped it into the thing, it was just already on its side.
Oh, Eric, you're so hard on it. And then if you look at what you did, Aaron, you put them in, got the snow out of the mouth, closed the mouth, and then you sent them down right away.
Yeah. And
then you watched them go. So I'm wondering if that little bit of time of keeping them out actually stressed them out enough that they just didn't want to swim anymore.
You know, I didn't actually rush them nearly as much as I could have. I actually took each one of them up to the camera as if I was filming a normal fishing show. And the one that I kept the longest, like where I had to go find my scoop and I moved my tripod around, I mean, that's normal stuff I do when I'm filming, but I usually just cut that stuff out, right? So the one that I handled the longest is the one that struggled to release. But nonetheless, I did handle all of them for a bit of time and showed them all to the camera, which would be the equivalent of taking pictures. So I rushed them, but at the same time, it wasn't insane how I rushed them.
Right.
So the ones that went to the bottom, how long did you actually watch them down there? Like you just watched until they started milling around with the rest?
Yeah, I mean, it gets pretty tough pretty quick to know which one's which when they get down there. And some of them went disappeared right into the bottom. Some of them got close. Like a lot of that footage was actually sped up where it took them a good amount of time to get down there, which I don't know if that's encouraging or discouraging, but they're not like just racing down there at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They're taking their time to get down there. So I'm not going to just have like, even if it's 45 seconds of footage of watching the fish swim back down, I'm not going to show that. Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is it was already annoying enough watching them swim down to 30, 34 feet that I'm not just going to keep on watching them for 5-10 minutes and see how much longer, right? I wanted to get back to fishing and make sure that I could hit my sample size and stuff. But certainly, I mean, even with that, more can be done with surveilling an individual fish for a longer period of time, because who knows what it's going to show. And even if, you know, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the video we're talking about, but the one that I was saying was stressed and floated back up to like, not floated, but swam back up to like 12 feet below the ice twice. Did you guys see that clip?
Yeah.
That specific fish, if he would have swam or floated all the way up to stuck right underneath the ice, like right underneath the ice, that wouldn't prove that he died either. You'd have to actually watch him for another however many hours until he died, right? Like there's just, it is such a long period that you would need to watch the fish for. And it's remarkable when you look at all these studies. Even when the Minnesota DNR was talking about what they can do differently on this study, they said that they're going to expand the monitoring period from 24 hours to 48 hours. Well, my second video, I watched those fish for 96 hours. Get this, after 48 hours, or maybe it was 72 hours, I texted every fish biologist type person I know asking, how long do you consider delayed mortality? So I texted 6 different people, okay? Because I was trying to figure out how much longer I should wait. After 72 hours, it's been 3 full days. And I'm thinking, like, how long do I need to wait? Because no matter what I do, people will say, well, they could have died after a week, et cetera, et cetera. Well, nobody replied to me.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be on one. People are busy. That's some people's excuses. But other people, they know that I'm, you know, oppositional potentially, so they don't want to be quoted. Even friends of mine don't necessarily want to stick their neck out. But I texted 6 different people that are all involved with fish biology stuff or fish science stuff. Nobody replied to me. Like never. Not even within 24, 48 hours. Like the conversation picked up again a week or 2 later, and that was never acknowledged or mentioned. Because it's just, nobody wants to be on the hook of saying what period delayed mortality is, or as I've commonly mentioned, like what that specific depth is that you can or can't fish for fish, right? Like with a lot of species, we talk about it like being 30 feet as being the rough guideline, but nobody wants to sit there and say it's safe to fish walleyes at 29.5 feet, but it's not safe to fish them at 31 feet, right? It's like, it's there's so much nuance to it. There's so many different variables to it. And that's why what I tried to really lean into in both those videos is that we all can do so much better with fish handling, which is the #1 easiest thing. We all can do so much better with it. It sounds annoying, or not annoying, but it sounds repetitive to keep on saying, but it's like, we absolutely can do better with that. And the government trying to find these solutions with barotrauma and spending money on these different things, when there is easier, quicker solutions that they can do in other regulation changes or through education that they can encourage, that would make a bigger difference than chasing this unknown of barotrauma. Because to be honest, 10 years ago, I knew just as much about barotrauma as I know right now, which is not that much. There's so much unknown to it. Like I am not closer to knowing anymore right now, even after these couple videos and all this discussion. I'm at the same place I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even 15, 20 years ago, where there is an unknown percentage of fish that are affected to an unknown degree.
But when you did the study, you had 2 larger in the tank, and then what was it, 3 small ones, right?
Yep.
In the tank?
4 small ones
So
one
then,
died right away, kind of thing.
So one of them died within what, about an hour, half an hour? Like it went into a seizure?
He had a seizure within an hour and a half, but when I first pulled him out of the water, he made a hissing noise, which was very odd. He made a hissing noise, which was, I don't know if it was his swim bladder popping for some reason or something, but when it happened, I mentioned it in the video, but didn't talk too much about it because it was like, I didn't know what had gone on, and I still don't know what went on. But to me, it's kind of cool that there was some sort of a sign right when I caught it. Should have texted Brecky.
We should have tested Brecky. He would have an answer for you.
Hey, here. I want to finish this point. It was cool that there was some sort of a sign that something was up and something was weird when I first caught it, because I really think that so much of our unknowns that we attach to delayed mortality actually isn't unknown, as in the one that's hooked the deepest is the one that's probably going to die after 6 hours or 48 hours or whatever. So that's why there's so much more we can do with education and just more of a smart approach as individuals to tackle that. Like we can keep 4 walleyes now, right? So if you're fishing for walleyes all day, you should probably be methodical with which 4 you keep, right? The ones that you need to dig for your hookouts and it swallowed the leech and tiny hook all the way back into its throat. Keep that one. You know what I mean? Like make smarter decisions like that, because we've leaned into this delayed mortality ambiguous thing, I think, a little bit too much as anglers, and acted like we have no idea what's going to happen later, when I think there is a lot of signs to what's going to happen later. Mike, were you getting at the fact that like half of the big fish had died or something, or what were you getting at there?
It's just that one went right away. Like it went into seizure. So what happened to the other big one? Was it more lethargic than the smaller ones for a period of time?
Everybody else was just fine. I mean, it's such a small sample size, so it's frustrating that it looks like half the big ones died, and not much else that we can say except for half the big ones died because we have such a small sample size. So it's either 1 in 6 died or 1 in 2 of the big ones died. I mean, that's just, it is what it is, you know, like.
And the hook wasn't down deep in that one or nothing, just in the lip and
just, yep, unhooked easily, no problem. It did make that weird hissing noise, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a correlation there is between size or not. Like obviously a big old fish is going to be stressed more, but it's also going to be handled more. So it's like one kind of contributes to the other, right? Like nobody's taking multiple measurements of a small crappie and then a bunch of pictures of a small crappie and then calling their buddies over from 100 feet away to look at a small crappie. You know what I mean? The way we handle a big crappie is so much different. And then for us to think that it's going to be fine, it's tough. And it's painful. You watch a fishing show, and I'm not talking about a current example necessarily, or I'm not talking about a 25-year-old example. I'm talking about all of the above, holding a trophy fish and talking about the importance of releasing the big ones while holding a big fish out of the water for an excessive period of time. Like we still do that nonstop. And we've been doing that for how many years have we been doing that? So when's that going to stop? I don't know.
We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about the 5 points of crappie fishing Aaron was talking about. If you're just joining us, it's the Cast and Egg Podcast. Got Mike Tatoli, Jeremy Santos, Eric Labopa, and special guest host for the 4th time, I believe it is, Aaron Wiebe. Yeah, we're talking about the videos that he released in this last little while here, and he's got more on the way. If you got any questions, by all means, man, pick them apart here, man. Like, I mean, pick apart his methodology or the Angling Buzz's methodology or any kind of concerns or questions you've got. Fire away. It's an interactive show. It's live. Nothing's edited. Talk about Uncut. This is our show's Uncut, for better or for worse. We get in trouble here a lot, but
we're the number 3 podcast. Remember that.
Was there a big difference between the ice water temp to the water in the tank, or does that not play a role, as it's more of the climatizing process? Yeah, water temp in your tank in your second video. That was just lake water, wasn't it? Same water, right?
It's a great question, but it wasn't an issue because the lake water down at depth, like at the bottom of any lake, is 4 degrees Celsius, and the surface water is 0 degrees. So I filled the tank with water that was actually colder than where the fish came from, and after only a few hours, it would have barely warmed up. It would be lucky if it warmed up to the point where the fish were coming from, as in there's a chance the fish were actually being put in colder water, right?
Okay.
If you followed that. And then over the 4 days, the water would have gradually warmed, but it was on the floor against the wall on the far end of the shack from the fireplace. So whatever it warmed up doesn't really matter, because the fish that died immediately and the other fish lived anyways. So, you know, if I had 6 dead fish at the end, then it would be something I'd have to look at more closely. But I think the water probably barely warmed up.
Yeah. Clayton Schick in the house. Pretty serious question. Are you going to wear that all night, bro? Professor Berecki's in the house here. Most anglers are not. Well, that's what Aaron's talking about. He's trying to, lead the charge. And as everyone is who has some influence, like Clayton's very good at it for fish handling. Yeah. You had Ken Kansas. I don't know. Maybe not a lot of people know who Ken Kansas is, but he was in your video, right? Like back in the water. Like you had like on repeat kind of thing. Get him back in the water after you take.
Yep, and that was hey, that was 11 years ago or 12 years ago where Ken Kens is driving the point home. And hey, it's cool to see Clayton in the house. When I'm being disparaging towards fishing shows, I've got to say guys like Clayton and Jay are the absolute best of the best, and they are demonstrating amazing fish handling in all of their videos. So I'm painting with wide strokes when I say that everyone's so brutal at it. I'm trying to include myself and not sound too hypocritical, because I do have made blatant mistakes over the years and continue to. So I'm trying to say that we all need to do better, but I mean, there's certainly guys that are doing it great, like Jay and Clayton, and the list isn't too much longer after that. I mean, there's a couple others. I'm not going to be saying, I don't want to like be the fish police and say, well, these guys suck at it and these guys suck at it, but overall people suck at it. And the reason that overall people suck at it is that when you're filming, there's a lot of other extra considerations like batteries dying and tripods and different things. Look at the setup Clayton has when he films. He's got a table and 25 cameras. He's got a million things going on. So if Clayton has a camera die, he gets the fish back in the water and continues on with his show. He's not worried about it. But a lot of these new guys that are getting on with it, and how I demonstrated the one fish I overhandled, it's because I was moving my tripod around and stuff to get my video filmed. So it's no wonder that it's a difficult thing to do out there in the field. And Clayton and Jay are true professionals, so they do a very good job at it. And, you know, hats off to them. But for the most part, everybody needs to do a better job. And, you know, the frustrating part is the guys that have been doing it poorly for many, many years, right? Like it's time to be better or retire.
So before you made the videos there, did you like do any other research before that? And where did you base your results off of other studies or anything like that? Or was it just all from you knowing like what really happens compared to what the MNDR was doing?
Yeah, I mean, you handle enough fish over the years and you talk to enough fishermen and all you do is fish that you kind of have a feel for what's going on. If somebody says it's 76%, it's like, okay, that's impossible that it could be that high. And I referenced in that first video a fish transfer that we did, a legal one that we did, whatever it was, 10 or 12 years ago with 50 crappies, and 49 of them, or 48 or 49 of them released fine after being handled all day and transferred and all this. So it's like the 76% and all those fish floating after just a short period of time. It's like there's something else going on. So when I'm watching that video, I'm literally looking to see what else is going on. I'm not like, you know, I'm not watching it. I guess I had a bias watching the video too, but my bias was in the other direction. So I'm like watching it like, what did they do wrong here? Like, where did they overhandle the fish type thing?
What was your permit that you got? You talked about that Fort White one where you guys transferred fish. I was like maybe 11, 12 years ago now. What was the special permit that you got for that? Or is that Fort White got that permit?
It's just a fish transfer permit. I didn't do the paperwork on it, but Fort White did the paperwork on it. And you can, when you go buy licenses, Eric, you know this, you've done this. When you go buy licenses, there's a place right on their website that you can fill out for fish handling, fish science, like a bunch of different types of permits. And like, is that where you fill it out for tournaments too?
Yeah, same place online. Now there's a place for special. But my question I'm going to get is, which is the one that you're getting denied on here? Like, which one are you trying to go for that you're not getting the permit for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what it's called. I could pull it up my emails, but it's essentially like a fish handling permit. It's anything to retain or handle a fish more than you would be otherwise. Because when you catch a fish, unless you're releasing it immediately, you're needing to get a permit for it because it's a part of your limit. And I kind of like operated in the gray area to have those fish in that aquarium because the aquarium's acting like a live well or a fish pail. And yeah, I'm keeping them alive, but in theory, I'm just keeping them alive until the end of the day when I'm done fishing. And that's why I say at the end, technically I can't release these fish because I've retained them for my limit. So if I release them now, why did I hold on to them? Right. Then I would need a permit for doing that. But since I just held on to them and kind of kept an eye on them for a few days while I was fishing, didn't need a permit for that. But
so what's the difference between keeping him in that tank and then keeping him in a live well during a tournament, then going to the weigh-ins and then releasing it?
The difference is that with the tournament, you're, you know, doing more with it. You're not just like you're handing them over to the tournament officials and there's like an official operation to everything. So there's just more, I don't know, logistics and whatever to it. I mean, it's not me participating in the tournament that needs the permit. It's the tournament organizer that's, getting people to do that and then is taking in these fish, right? So it's more that person that needs the permit and not the participant in the tournament.
Yeah.
So what
and
is
to be
it
clear, hey, to be clear, guys, I applied for permits multiple times and I've got a bunch of stuff I want to do, but I'm not surprised that I didn't get the permits whatsoever. And if I was in that position, I wouldn't give me the permits either, if that makes sense. Like, they can't be just giving out permits all willy-nilly to people, and I understand that, but that doesn't mean that I can't complain that I'm not getting the permits. I can still complain, and I'm not going to make a huge fuss about it. And in my video, I just put a little disclaimer on there. I didn't say, poor me, I didn't get the permits. The reason that I included that is because I want people to understand that everything I'm doing is within normal angling situations, which is why my control group is so weak. Not my control group, but my sample size is so weak at 6 fish, because that's the best I can do. And I got to sit with these fish for 4 days. If I didn't have to sit with them for 4 days, I would have monitored those fish for a month. Like, I would do everything I could do. I would have sample sizes that were massive and be doing stuff around the clock, but I'm not allowed to do that. And I'm not complaining because I understand the realities of what they can give permits out for. And, in the future, I think that we'll get to a place where we can work together more seamlessly, and we'll just figure that out when we get there.
Dr. Marsban, have you approached the industry for investing into a barotrauma study? To me, the next level would be tagging. I saw Nate Olson there, CDP Nation and Stag tagged the fish at the end of your one video there. CDP Nation, right? If you stuck around for the post credit scene there, that was pretty hilarious. So they microchipped it, but I mean, have any kind of offers come through now? Any kind of university or organization wants to do something, anything like that, come through the pipe lately?
To a degree, but the thing is that, like, to work with an organization like that, it's kind of like they have to have a reason or an incentive to do a topic. So it's like I could convince them potentially to do it, but it's kind of like I want to be the boss. You know what I mean? I know what I want to do and what I want to get done. And if I can't do that and I can't convince someone else to do it, then it's like, well, what's the point in joining up with them? I would go along with them and be a fly on the wall with whatever they were doing, but that's not specifically what I want to do necessarily.
So you are doing science, though. I know there's a little bit of the impression was that, you're against it. Real talk. This is bro science and we're versus science. But you were doing science. I mean, both videos with the methodology that you're doing, and you're saying it's a small sample size, of course, but you were applying controls and you're taking down data and whatnot. It's science, man. You were doing science. No, would you agree?
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you said that when you weighted them, it made them feel heavier. So making them feel heavier, was that to get them to stress out more or to expel more air out of their air bladder?
It would actually make them put more air in their air bladder, which is why it elongated that process, because if they think they're heavier, then they'd need more air in their swim bladder, right? But the number one thing that you need to prevent is them being upside down, because if they're upside down, they are stressing. Like when you have a fish in a live well in a tournament, that's the number one thing you can't have is a fish upside down. It's like you're willing to poke it, pop it, fizz it, whatever you want to call it, or fin clip it, or do whatever you need to not let it be upside down. Because when they are upside down, that is the worst thing you can do. So fin clipping those ones definitely made the process longer, but at least they weren't stressing out. And I was just like gradually cutting back the weight as I described there. If I would have just taken the clips off or not put the clips on at all, there's a chance that they would have balanced out quicker, but there's also a chance that they would have stressed and died. And when I only had a sample size of 6, I didn't really want to be messing with it. You know what I mean? I wanted to give them the best chance at living for the longest period of time.
What were your 5 points again? If we could recap it. We got some questions.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, the most important one that people seem to glaze over is to avoid fishing deep water. That was point number 1. Avoid fishing deep water. And people think that I'm showing that you should do it or something. It's like there is already people fishing the deepest basins on every crappie lake that they can. There's already people doing it. So the fact that I'm out there giving suggestions on how they can do it better it's like I'm embracing the topic and trying to have real discussion about these serious things, and people are acting like I'm approving it. And it's like, in that video, I think I said, avoid fishing deep water. It's dangerous. There's unknowns. I think I said that 25 times. So I'm
said
not
a lot
sure
of times, man.
how many more times do I need to say it?
That was the
But
first
anyways,
point. Do not fish deep.
They just want you to make more videos, man.
But the other
Yeah.
one, I've never seen that before. That that for sure, I learned something there. Is that where you close, get the air out of its mouth? You were saying you're closing.
I think
its
you
mouth.
skipped a step. Avoid fishing deep water, and if you're gonna fish deep water, just keep the first whatever
keep your
fish,
limit,
5 or
whatever.
6,
Every catch, yeah.
whatever. Keep your limit and then stop fishing. Okay, so that's all step number 1. Where's the camera? That's all step number 1. Step number 2 is to hurry the fish back into the water. So that is talking specifically to fish handling, and that applies to all species, all angling situations. And barotrauma is just one of many increased stressors. There's all sorts, like deeply hooked fish and warm water in summer are 2 other huge ones that I think are just as bad, maybe worse, as barotrauma. So when we're talking about barotrauma, like it's this ambiguous thing that everyone needs to avoid at all costs. It's like, well, if that's truly how you feel, then you shouldn't be fishing in the middle of summer either, and you shouldn't be using any angling technique that increases the chance of hooking a fish deeper. That's just where it's like education can go a long ways here when we're acting like barotrauma is the end all be all. It's like, well, then keep that energy up across other topics too.
Okay.
So that's the first 2 steps. And then step number 3, I think, was to make sure there's no water or slush in its mouth.
Right.
And then was step 4, close the mouth. Like those are kind of all the same step. Usually over the years, I haven't been so methodical about it, but it was like having the releases being filmed and stuff, it makes you check yourself. And I think that's where I think step number 5 was to watch them swim away on the fish finder. I think that's going to be cool in the future, as people you already see it on everybody's YouTube videos. Everybody's watching the releases now. I never saw it a month ago, but everyone's doing it now. Yeah. And that's great, because we're going to be self-checking ourselves, because before we just needed a quick little wave goodbye from the fin, right? Which even a super stressed fish can usually cooperate and give you one little wave goodbye. Well, now if you need to actually see that fish swim away on the fish finder and you're trying to include that as emphasis, people are quickly going to do the same thing that I did, and the one fish they overhandle is going to be the fish that's not going to want to swim away too well. So they're going to, it'll be incentivizing them to handle the fish quicker and get that sweet release and the sweet release on the fish finder.
Yeah, Jesse's giving you some props here. That's cool stuff. Big Sky Flies and Jigs was saying here, though, what about taking a picture and a bumper for a master angler, for example? It's extra steps. Any photo is extra steps, though. I mean, it is. You might as well avoid fishing altogether. Then, you know what I mean? Like if you take the extreme.
There was definitely controversy about that when the master angler program came out with that stipulation, and it's tough to know. Like, he's right that it does add extra hassle, but it's like, do we want to go back to just honor system where the measurements are loosey-goosey? I mean, probably not. I think more so it puts the onus on us to be organized and to have your stuff ready. I mean, you referenced the Ken Kansas minutes from back in the day, and one of the minutes was having your release tools ready. Ken talked about that, and having all your ducks in a row in advance so that everything's laid out and you can be super quick. And it drives me crazy when I'm watching a fishing show and they don't have their hookouts and they don't have their stuff together and organized. And it's like, I know that's the reality of everyday anglers, but as a pro and as a influencer, you need to be better. You need to demonstrate those good practices so that people can actually learn from you and not just come along for whatever you're going to do, right? Like, there's responsibility in being an influencer.
So how tough, okay, now that you said that, how tough is it? I don't want to pick on Sobe, but how tough is it? You're pushing this, and then you go watch another influencer, and he's got a stack of them sitting on the ice, and then they're releasing them after that. And he's not the only one that does it. I've seen probably 15 or 20 YouTube videos where the guys are stacking them on the ice, and then they're letting them go.
What do you mean, like crappie and perch? Like
crappie, bluegill.
What do you mean by stacking them?
Well, they'll keep them, they'll throw them on the ice, and then they'll release them out because they don't want to spook. They don't want to spook the school.
Oh,
right?
Really?
And then what you'll see are people that say they've released their crappie on social media and they've
Yeah.
got like 6 hanging off their fingers like freaking pimp rings.
I've always had a problem with that kind of stuff. If you're
So
keeping
I've
them,
always
it's
had a problem with
harvest.
that too.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to eat them, then keep them. But it's got to be tough on you though, Aaron. You're trying to promote this, and then on the next channel they're doing something different.
It's terrible. It's brutal, and I mean, it makes it worse that Sobi I would consider a friend of mine, and we were preparing to do a podcast together when his that video came out. So it's all very difficult to digest. But I mean, it sucks. It definitely sucks.
Because I said to
He
Val,
says, yeah.
I said to Val that he's going to catch shit for this one.
Well, now
he caught.
now.
Well, as he should, don't you think?
He got flack by the whole YouTube community, which was, I mean, I don't want to see him get slagged, but that was a nice time to see someone get slagged because it shows that people get it. You know, it's not up to me as the fish police to watch every video and then be making reaction videos or call outs to people one by one, but we need to do better. And I'm not really sure what was going on in his head when he filmed that and then edited it and then posted it. You know, like just all of it just adds up. But I don't know. I mean, it sucks. And you know what? The other thing that sucks is I'm seeing again now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, like greenback pictures, even from well-known guides that clearly have frosted eyes and fins.
Yeah.
It's like we're moving backwards for some reason. And I feel like with some of these guys, they feel like they've made it and I dare you to call me out or something. It's like, yeah, you want to call me. I don't know what it is, but it's like, how don't you just do better? And those two topics combined, whether you're talking about Sobi overhandling those crappies or guides posting frozen fish again, it makes me have a different opinion about live scope and stuff, because as much as I am fully in favor of live scope and technology advancing, then when I see people being irresponsible, I'm like, I feel differently about it all of a sudden, because it's like maybe we as an angling group isn't ready for live scope. Not to say that it's not awesome technology and whatever, but like I want it to be known, I am not anti-government or anti-regulation. I am up for sustainably managing fisheries. Education's a big part of that. Regulation imposed by government is a big part of that. And at some point, if it's not already, technology will go too far. And if we as anglers and sportsmen and professionals, whether that's content creators or fishing guides, aren't demonstrating 100%, where's my thumbs up, 100% like awesome practices, then it's pretty confusing how we can also say that we are ready for this technology. Because what people will say is, oh, live scope's fine unless it's in the hands of somebody who's irresponsible and doesn't understand. But it's like, okay, but there's all sorts of professionals that don't seem to understand and don't seem to be responsible. So it's not just the argument of guns don't kill people, people kill people, and guns are dangerous in the hands of someone irresponsible. It's like we as fishermen are greedy and want to go out there and catch as big a fish as we can. So if technology lets us exploit it and make poor decisions, it's going to take quite a bit of self-control for us to check ourselves, if you know what I'm saying.
Interesting
I think the thing with the frozen eyes, though, it's that simple fact that they want that picture so they can get more guiding gigs out of it. So
that's what I was going to say.
They're gonna work to get that photo. They're gonna work.
But sometimes, to their defense, to be honest with you, I've seen people being accused of frozen eyes or fins or whatnot. When the fish is rolling out in slush, you pick it up, it looks like that it's all crusty, but I mean, it's like +2 outside. I've seen that. And he goes, that fish is frozen. It was +2 outside. It's not. It's just slush on it. Not all cases, but sometimes it's like that, right?
I'm talking about what about a situation where you've got the angler with the his trophy, and this is kind of like in line with the question about master angler measurements, right? The master angler measurements adds an additional thing to the process that could be thought of as unnecessary, right? Well, what about when you get your hero shot with your fish and then there's another photo with 6 guys behind you? Like, was that necessary? Because now the fish does look more frozen than the other picture. So it's like, again, I don't want to be the fish police and looking at every single example, but 1, you could stay in the tent, and 2, do you need the group shot too? Like this is a fish that everyone that sees the fish on social media should feel like there was a sense of urgency to be releasing that fish. And when there's the group shot, you know what that tells me? If I'm going to be influenced by this influencer, it tells me that I should get the group shot with all my buddies there. And it's one thing if you've achieved the group shot and the fish looks like it's in mint condition. But if you've achieved the group shot and the fish now looks like it's more frozen than the other shot, what are we doing? Like, if that happened, fine. We all make mistakes. But why post the picture? Because now you're just putting emphasis on the mistake and I'm not sure.
I'm guilty because I'm guilty because I helped somebody, I worked with somebody for guiding last year, and we did a group shot. But the difference is we had it in the water the whole time on a lip grip, just chilling in the water. And then we took it out, took that photo, and it was gone within minutes. Not minutes, but like a minute. It was done, over. So,
but that's a problem, right? People don't see that part. Something they don't see it, especially guys that don't a lot. And I think that's the problem with just pictures and social media and stuff, that they don't show everything that goes through it to take a proper picture. Like you said, leaving the fish in the water, like things like that. That's something that the guys should do more often.
Target Walleye in the house. Weekend Warrior podcast is up in here. Anthony Kleinwachter from Ion. Everyone's watching today. We got Aaron Wiebe, Uncut Angling. We're talking about barotrauma, and now we're going right into fish handling and all kinds of stuff. And we all should do better. Like I've always said, it's actually, for all intents and purposes, it's a very small community. Everyone from the top down. You're talking about Aaron Wiebe, right down to us here, to the guy next door who only fishes 3 times a winter. It's a very small community, and if we all handle the fish better, I mean, I like the message Aaron's getting out there. It's we do better. Yeah. I always pick out in pictures too on social media when if I see a different background, like this one has the truck behind it, the other one doesn't, and then now has the ridge. But I always want to see if it's the same fish. Then, like you said, it's the same thing with getting the people. Like, now you took 3 different poses, not the same background, like not 3 consecutive shots. It's like you moved around
3 complete different positions.
Yeah, with the same fish. I'm always, I'm always Inspector Gadget checking with the magnifying glass, but. Yeah, we can all do better for sure in that regard. We got questions over here. Everyone is guilty. He says here, remember that hatchery video Jay took? We're all guilty ourselves too. Master Angler. I was going to talk. Like I worked at Travel Manitoba. I helped bring that in, Aaron, when I was there, bringing the Master Angler, all those rules. That was me and Suffy bringing that in. Andre Carrier said the whole program needs to change. Not really. I mean, it can be done. We've proven it can be done in 30 seconds. They had Arian do how many videos to show that you can, if you have everything ready, have your bump board and whatnot ready to go. And then don't worry. I was never a stickler on that picture is not good enough. I mean, you get the best picture you can get is what it is. It wasn't like this. You have to be IGAF where it has to be very, very, very exact. I mean, it's close enough because some people are trying to get the exact best photo, whether it's a hero shot or a measurement shot, and you don't need that. You really don't. You just get it back in the water kind of thing. So that's cool.
Well, if you watch one of Clayton's videos, he shows you how to have everything ready ahead of time. Yeah. Like he's got the board there. He's got the tools, everything. And that fish is out of the water, on the board, dehooked, gone. And he's got everything. So, I guess it's all in the person, the way they want to take it and learn.
Well, I mean, it's all about education too. Like if someone's brand new to fishing and they catch a giant, you're telling me they know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be taking pictures left and right, but that's lack of education, rather, right? Like,
so hence, if you're like Santos says, if you're an influencer, and Aaron was saying it too, and not even an influencer, we're talking about you could be the only person who angles in your family. You're influencing that sphere of influence. That's that circle. I mean, if you do it, if I do it in my family, if I do it a certain way, my brother-in-law, my cousins, my whoever, Nash is gonna do it the way that I do it. So you're influencing everybody. Even Santos, you got like 8 people here razzing you right now, whatever. But whatever Santos does, they're gonna do. So everyone has a responsibility here, man. Handling, get them back. That's rule number 2. Aaron said, I think, get them back right away. What's your thoughts on fizzing, bro? Sorry, man. You got another point, Mike? I was gonna go to fizzing.
No, go ahead.
Fizzing, bro. Tournaments, all that kind of stuff. Like, what's your thoughts on fizzing's? I've gone back and forth on that over the years on where I stand on that side of the fence or whatever. And last tournament in September, I was fizzing the hell out of those last mountain fish there. Like, Do you think those things are living? Or when we say delayed mortality, they dying a month later, or what do you think?
I don't want to say too much on it because I'm going to cover it more thoroughly in the future. Like the first permit that I filled out last winter was specifically for fizzing and barotrauma stuff. But I would say that I think there's cumulative effects with fizzing also. And I don't think it's 100% dead. Like somebody like Gord Pizer would be out on a crusade always saying like such absolutes with stuff like fizzing. I don't think it's like that because we poke and prod these fish with hooks all over the mouth and everywhere else. It's not outrageous to think that we can poke them. I mean, personally, I don't like fizzing. Okay, so if it sounds like I'm defending fizzing, that's not what I mean to do. I'm just saying that there's probably a balance between the two extreme ends. The people that think it's the best thing you should do, like Jamie Bruce, will give a shout out. He makes a video about fizzing, and he says right in it, if you're not on board with fizzing, you probably still think the world's flat. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not on board with fizzing. I'm not on board with fizzing, Jamie. So I guess me and Kyrie Irving still think the world's flat. So I'm not at that end of the spectrum, and I'm not at the Gord Pizer end of the spectrum. So there you've got two polar opposites. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I think that it comes down to education. And if I had to side with one or the other, it really pains me to do this, but I would side with Gord because anytime you're doing something extracurricular, whether it's fizzing, whether it's descending, whether it's just anything extra, you're probably doing something that you shouldn't be doing. And you go back to rule number 1 on that 5 keys to deep water fishing. And it's just avoid deep water fishing. Nobody fishing in 15, 20 feet is having to fizz fish regularly. And even if you're fishing in 25, 30 feet, if you're releasing right away, you're not going to have to be dealing with fizzing anyways. It's when you start getting beyond 30 feet and you're handling the fish longer that then you all of a sudden have to start fizzing fish, or if you're in a tournament situation. So I think as soon as you're in a situation where you have to fizz a fish, or have to descend a fish, you probably need to just be adjusting your angling approach more than anything.
Which ties into... Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No, go.
The fizzing, in my situation, I'm sure for a lot of people out there, and you said it yourself too in the other podcast, is that the only reason we're fizzing is because we're in a tournament. We need to get that fish to weigh in, right side up, alive. That's the only reason. Like if we were just fishing out there recreationally, that fish would go right back down. And if a fish are coming up where, you know, I would go for lake trout or whatnot, and I pull the walleye up and its eyes are bugging out or whatever. I mean, then you're not fishing. Don't fish for those fish, kind of thing. So, what are your thoughts on? I know you haven't done too many tournaments lately, I don't think, but catch, photo, release versus weigh-in tournaments. That's a big movement going on now, especially Manitoba wanting to lead the way on that. It's catch, photo, release nowadays.
Speaking of agendas, yes, I think that they're amazing, Eric. Honestly, when Keystone first popped up, like it's not called Keystone anymore. It's just called Kickerfish Ice.
Yeah, we took it over.
Icebreaker Elite Series.
Icebreaker Elite. Okay, so when James and Alex first started the Keystone Walleye Trail around here, best tournaments I ever fished. Everything about them, the way that like everything was on your own terms and times, and the fish get released immediately. And I know that idea has been around for a long time in walleye fishing in the States and stuff, but just to do it up here, I was like, this is amazing. And it's so much better for the fish. It is terrible playing with slots in your live well. It is terrible to have to like keep an eye on them and side eye them. Now you've got a fish that starts to look stressed and it's in your live well, and you've got to kind of make an ethical decision and think, well, if I release it now, it's not actually dead or dying yet. So maybe this is still legit if I release it now, or I hold on to it till the end of the day and I risk having a dead fish in my live well, which is bad for more reasons than one, right? So, I mean, it is amazing to be able to immediately measure and immediately release a fish for a tournament. It takes some more logistics. And I'm annoyed with how the government like kind of imposed that on everyone in the course of like immediately type thing. As you know, Eric, I was pretty annoyed with that. I don't think, Mike, you weren't on that podcast. I don't think Jeremy wasn't, or not podcast, but we had a group call
We had a
where
meeting
they were.
with a meeting.
I wasn't allowed to go to that meeting.
Yeah, right.
Honest to Christ, I wasn't allowed to go to any more meetings.
No, he didn't get the invite for it.
I didn't get an invite because I voiced my opinion very strongly 2 meetings prior to that, where somebody on their end got pissed off at me pretty good. So,
hey, I think that the people over there at, I won't name them personally, but the people that hosted this conversation with competitive fishing events to see how they could help the transition, I do think that they meant well, and I think that these are good people and stuff, but they had, in that case, they had an agenda to just push the rules on us ASAP, and it was lame conversations about how we can make it better for you, because we got together and every single one of us, what we asked for was just a 1-year extension to help figure it out, because they're pushing this on tournaments that had already taken in half of their entry fees for the field and sent out all their brochures and stuff. And it's April or May or something. Or when was that conversation? Maybe it was in the middle of winter.
It was May.
I think I'm going to go have a beer break because I'm going to start I'm starting to get wound up here.
Already.
Why?
Because this is what it was. They are great people. I agree with you 100% on that. But the problem is when I said to them, you'll never, ever give us a special permit. And they said, well, how do you know? Because I have applied for 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they've denied every single one of them. And I said, anybody I've talked to that's applied for a special permit, you're just blowing smoke up my ass. And then after that, somebody let me have it. And I says, well, I guess I see I was right. So after that, I wasn't invited to no more meetings.
I was pushing for special permits, but now I'm catch photo release army, bro. It's good.
Well, it's fine, but you can't offer us the idea of a special permit and then never give one out.
Yeah. Well, they never had the intention to do it. You know they did it.
I know, and that's why I said that to them.
That's a problem.
And we even said we'll pay money for that permit. No, not a chance.
Exceptions.
Okay, go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
I was going to say exceptions are difficult for them, and I get that. And you, Mike, you must be able to understand how it's tough for them to do exceptions and whatnot. Like,
well, I know it is, but you can't sit there and propose that we may be able to get special exemptions, but then in reality, we're not going to get them. So don't even bring that conversation up.
But it's killed like bass fishing here, though. Bass tournaments.
Yeah, they ruined our bass tournaments, and when you tell them that they ruined our bass tournaments, they're like, "No, we didn't." And it's like, "Yes, you did."
Oh, yeah,
hey,
Mike, release 5 bass. It's different.
What do you want special permits for, Mike? What kind of topics or what kind of
it was just
stipulations?
Because when they were bringing in all that, like a lot of people, they were completely against. I like catch photo release because I don't have to deal with fish all day. Yeah, but it's the people that don't know how to do it properly, and they still want it to weigh in that one big fish.
Yeah,
like just allow it for that one season to make that transition. But like you said, this is the way you're doing it right now. So we just said, can we have a special permit for that? And I actually applied for a special permit to bring in two big fish at tournaments, but that wasn't going to happen. So
I think for starters, like when I say exceptions are difficult, that's why I'm pointing out the fact that we all got together and what we all wanted or asked for was 1 year to figure it out. I understand that ultimately they wanted to get rid of fish in live wells, which is hard to argue. Like, we all know that the fish don't like being in the live wells. And I've admitted, and you guys have maybe echoed, that the only time that we are actually fizzing fish is when we're trying to keep them alive in our live well. And it's like, that's a pretty incriminating thing to admit, right? Yeah. So that's where it's like, it's not for the best to have these fish in the live well. Certainly with walleyes, I think bass are a lot more resilient. And if they actually wanted to work with the stakeholders to be able to keep these things going, they could have done it where bass was only done during cooler water periods. Like literally, if they wanted to work with stakeholders, why don't they say, okay, we'll let you do bass tournaments, but you can only do them in May and September or something like that. Like actually try to work with us instead of the regulations they rolled out with that top size limit and everything. Very hard to understand why they did it, how they came up with those numbers, and same with the crappie size. Like the size on a lot of different species opens up a can of worms in other areas that I don't know if we want to get into or not. But
that's why hats off to you.
This might be another 3.5-hour podcast.
Exposing a lot of stuff, man.
Cans of worms.
We won't go that long. You know me. I've got I start charging overtime after. But hats off to Aaron though for I mean, challenging anyone who's involved with affecting regulations and all that kind of stuff, to challenge the methodologies, challenge the data and the research. Like I hate it when they apply policy here and then they're referencing a study done in Alabama or whatever, and they go, "Oh no, it translates." I don't know, man. I'd prefer you guys to do something on experimental lakes or something like that instead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then it comes down, we don't have the money for it and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be nice if they could take on, like studies like maybe that you're doing. If they could have their own, these are the controls we'd like you to do, and then maybe start using some of that kind of stuff. I don't know they would ever take studies.
Hey, are you talking about what kind of studies are you talking about when you say it was like that was just a random example, but are you talking about for bass, crappies, fizzing? Like what are you talking about?
They were talking about, so crappies is one. Remember they were instituting the limits on crappie and what's the right size to either slot or protect and all that kind of stuff. And they would reference that. A lot of it has to do with tournaments because that's my big thing was tournaments. And at the time I was trying to argue that we could have exemptions for tournaments because our mortality rate, and it still is the case in catch and release tournaments, mortality is low, but there's not enough studies. They go, come do studies. Then let's check out delayed mortality on it. Let's radio chip things and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't think they radio chip ABIs.
They don't work on weekends, Eric. Remember?
I know. I don't know. I just wanted more collaboration between anglers, stakeholders.
Saskatchewan does it really well. I like, hats off to Saskatchewan. I'm always going to say hats off to Saskatchewan because they show up on a Saturday and a Sunday and they do
work.
all that stuff, man. They do all that tagging, radio, everything. So
bass surviving live wells. It's not a huge deal. Walleyes aren't surviving.
Hey, Manitoba does a lot of cool things too. Like
they do.
We have some cool regulations. Sometimes,
is this where I go get a beer now?
Sometimes it feels like our regulations and some of our stuff is being done by like hippies or something because some of their ideas are really good and really progressive and other ideas are just like, how did you go through with that with so little consulting and so little whatever? But I mean, Are we the only province that's barbless right now? Like I can't keep up, but I know Alberta went back to barbs, and is Saskatchewan barbed or barbless?
So Saskatchewan parks are barbless. Anything that's a provincial park is barbless in Saskatchewan.
We're province-wide, yeah. We're
Manitoba was barbless, like already something like 20 or 25 years ago, and we're still the only ones. Yeah. How is that possible? And we've got the best master angler program here by far, and it just continues to get better, the different changes that they make to it, like incrementally. So like we do some things cool here, and I know that that's a shout out to Travel Manitoba with the master angler program, not the conservation or fisheries branch or whatever, but the fisheries branch is who brought in barbless at some point and some other cool stuff where they're clearly doing things from a very conservation progressive mindset. Unfortunately, they're like not consulting all the stakeholders and taking everything into account when they make these rules that have affected tournaments negatively and affected outfitters negatively in other situations. So like they're doing it with a good mindset, and I think we need to be thankful about that a lot of the people making the decisions over at the fisheries branch, or the couple people making decisions, I should say. Let's not pretend there's a bunch. The couple people that are making the decisions are actual like hardcore sport fishermen. So as much as it's feeling like it's being run by a very small little echo chamber, that little echo chamber is at least like closely aligned with us. Mike, I know it's hard to believe, but they are actually somewhat closely aligned with our thinking. They are.
I'll just nod. I'm just gonna nod and smile.
There you go.
You know why, Aaron? Because I like you. So
all right, bro. Good. What was the most ideal and practical tournament scenario? I like myself. If I'm running one or participating one, I like to weigh my biggest fish that I can catch. Like I've always hated fishing for slots because it's so counterintuitive, right? I've always said this. So the 5 fish that we do now, catch, photo, release with a video. I like it, man. We keep putting a bunch of checks and balances. Myself, I think that's great. I think I'm on board nowadays with that.
I like that too. I like that too. I don't like fishing for slot fish and then throwing them in the live well and leaving them there all day.
No, who wants to fish for small fish during a tournament?
I've probably had to bring across the scale 4 dead slot fish. And it was the same thing like that one crappie you had in that tank, Aaron. It just, you throw in the live well, it went into convulsions and died.
Just died.
Like, yeah. Great. I'm stuck with a dead walleye going to the scale now, right?
Yeah.
And I hate bringing a dead fish to the scale.
All 7 people in Yukon are barbless, apparently. So Yukon is barbless.
Oh yeah, I think the territories and stuff are too, but it still feels like we could be a lot more progressive with that. Like if we knew that Manitoba was barbless 25 years ago, wouldn't you think 25 years later a bunch of people would have caught up, or else we would have given up on it? Like one way or the other, you wouldn't think that we'd be the only ones still doing it in this area.
Yeah, I know.
There was a question back to the barotrauma that was brought up by Mike Klatt. So you did your barotrauma on the crappie. Is there a reason you didn't do it on like a larger species like a walleye or trout or anything like that? Like trout, we know they can burp it all out, their air. So, but say like walleyes, is there a reason you didn't pick walleyes to do that on?
I would be doing stuff like this nonstop around the clock if I had some permits, but I'm limited. Like I had to stay with those fish for 4 days around the clock to do that little sample size, right? So I would do all species, all scenarios. I'd be playing with this stuff all the time if I was allowed to. If I did walleyes for the same thing, my sample size would be even smaller because the limit's 4. You know, like it's tough. Like I could do some stuff. Hey, one last thing I wanted to say about fizzing. And this doesn't get mentioned, but there are studies that have shown that the prick in their swim bladder heals up in not too long. So, of course, there's all sorts of other issues with poking a fish in the body with infection and different, you know, like how sharp is your education? Not just how sharp is your needle, but how sharp is your education on knowing where the prick spot is and stuff like that. So I am not endorsing fizzing. I am anti-fizzing, but I also don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. And I have read studies that have demonstrated that that little hole does heal up in a lot quicker than you would imagine. Like I'm talking about less than an hour that hole can already be holding air again, and that fish can be getting back to self-regulating.
Well, you
think I might be exaggerating. It might be a couple hours, but it's not like it's several days.
It's real quick, yeah.
We know somewhere for sure because Saskatchewan has they've tagged like radio collared fish or radio chip fish and fizzed fish, actually, like ones that have been fizzed. And like 3 weeks later, that fish is moving around and doing its regular thing. So I mean, they all don't die. I mean, it's hard to say. More studies would be great, though. That's what I'd like to see, man. More studies. We study all kinds of weird stuff, man. We might as well study some fishing things, no?
It's pretty bizarre to me when you hear people be like, well, I don't know how we would possibly monitor these fish. And then it's like, have you guys heard of a fish tank? Like, it's like, how could it be that hard to monitor a fish? Like, fizz it and throw it in a fish tank. Like, it's not that difficult. Or just give me the permit and I'll do it all. But it's like pretty bizarre how we act like there's no way to monitor these fish. You'd need a private lake or an underwater drone or some sort of a microchip. You know, it's like, no, just put it in an aquarium. You can get a large enough aquarium, I would think, with the amount of money thrown at a lot of this stuff, you could figure it out.
Underwater
drone. You might want to play that video because that's my next topic.
Scope is easily the worst thing to ever enter into the fishing industry. All these guys think they're swinging big balls because they catch these big fish. It doesn't matter. You're cheating, dude. It's electronics. I hate live scope and I hate anyone that uses live scope. Literally, your mom probably washes your laundry still. But if you look on the screen here, you can see about 17 feet to
that cracked me up when I saw that, man. That kid was funny.
What was
Aaron's facing?
Because I should have done that first.
No.
So you were talking to the other 4 guys on the last podcast, and I've had a debate going with Jamie Bruce after his last podcast about the wall of live scope. So now I have to prove to Jamie, like he wants to come on the podcast, and we're going to have to talk about debating our points to what happens where there's that 15-foot wall. And you think that we're all nuts when we say there's that 15-foot wall also, correct?
I believe you believe there's a wall.
There is a wall. It's like there's a wall. They hit that 15-foot mark and they spin around. But it's only on Lake Winnipeg that I've noticed it.
To recap, Mike's talking about the forward-facing sonar wall where like the fish will stop and not come in there. Not all the time, but there's some kind of wall. Now, I know Jamie Bruce does not believe that. Aaron, I think they were saying it too, doesn't.
I don't want to have an opinion.
Look at him.
Yeah, I don't want to have a big opinion. I'm just saying that, like, I don't believe it's a big enough difference that I'm going to be changing my behavior. But when a really good angler like Mike or those guys on the podcast or whoever tells me that they believe it, it's like, okay, I'm believing that they believe it and that it could be an issue, but I'm not just going to go change my habits because of it.
Yeah, well, Gerald Swindle, like he was saying.
Wow. It keeps you from getting too close. And as the fishing pressure gets higher, I think the distance is going to become a lot more crucial. I'm already seeing it. Like there's a certain distance where you need to stay. You don't need to get inside that if you can help from it. So being able to move around fast and find them and then stop, that's going to be crucial. So I'm already looking into some.
He was talking about like with these breaks now and not getting it into that wall. I mean, they're talking about it more in the bass thing too. Just curious, more studies, Mike and Aaron, do some more studies on it.
I hope that the fish can sense it and can, get trained to that. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Maybe right? If the fish are so used to all the sonar stuff that they can avoid it and get further and further away, that would be great. I don't know how much I believe that, but like with so much of it, you don't see the fish or know what the fish is doing before you have your sonar on it. So how do you know that it stopped or changed direction if you don't know what it would have done otherwise? Like it's so hard to have a control on that.
So I've owned mine since 2020. And from 2020 till now, they're starting to do it a lot more than before. Like, I don't know if they're getting used. They're getting educated towards that sound or that frequency or those two frequencies where they're meeting. And they're actually relaying that to any type of pain. Like I know they say fish forget pain right away, but how do we know that?
Donald Pierce, as a guy who has hundreds of guests on the ice in a week, without live scopes, with or without, there are two opposite ends of the spectrum for sure at times. And then other times, that's why I was saying like it doesn't happen all the time. But when it is happening, it's consistent that day, though, eh, Mike? That's sort of. It
is consistent. Like there's days that doesn't affect them, but then there's days it just like it's crazy. Like you literally got to drill 20 feet away to go get them from your live scope.
And they turn around at the same spot on those days where they don't. You can tell exactly the same spot they turn around.
It's not 18 feet. It's not 14 feet. It's like 15 feet. Bang! I'll stop right here and I'll turn around and come back and go back from where I came from.
They weren't gonna bite anyway, kind of thing. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have to go out there and try a few things to see what it is because it'll be a fun topic with Jamie Bruce. So
we'll keep going on that. Aaron's gonna be doing some more stuff too. He says What about some quick questions for Aaron here? Do you plan on fishing in any tournaments in 2024?
Are you guys gonna run any of those fun fish-friendly tournaments in the summer?
Oh man, everybody wants us to do.
Everyone's asking now, man.
Coming, bro. We've got kayak coming. Kayak 100% is coming.
Yeah, kayak's coming.
There's a kayak one for sure, and then we might do an open water one. I don't know about a series, but yeah, catch photo release is the way. Selkirk Walleye Championship is 5 fish CPR each day, so
cool.
You'll be in that one probably. I'll
that one
right now. I'll mark you.
That's the only one that I've got on my list. So
there you
far.
go.
Thanks for putting me on the list. Yeah.
He already marked you down.
He's boat number 4 already done. Anyway, what about any plans for new Uncut angling content? You did allude to some of that stuff.
Yep.
That's it, eh? Yep.
That's it, eh? Yep. No, nothing other than that.
Nothing. Yep.
Just
Who are your
wait,
biggest
eh?
influences in fishing growing up? These are anonymous questions. They didn't want the. They just sent them in, but
I never watched any fishing shows growing up because we didn't have any channels. So it's like, I thought Don Lamont was the coolest, but I would just read his newspaper articles once in a while and never saw Don Lamont's fishing show. I don't think ever. It was impossible to see anywhere that I could
really,
tell. I saw him and Dino Branfield on Minnewaska like once, and it was the coolest. It was so cool to watch a Don Lamont episode, and like to be able to meet Dino later on was cool too. But other than that, like I never watched fishing shows, and yeah, I don't know. My influences was anytime I went fishing anywhere, I would just insist on talking to every single person I could possibly talk to, and I mean I think that's how a lot of us are in a way. I mean, now we kind of want to be left alone maybe, but like, I just remember like if I saw somebody at the river's edge and I had an opportunity to go pick their brain and get any little morsel out of them, I was always trying to do that and figure out anything I could, because you quickly see how valuable those little tidbits are that they're pretty hard to attain that kind of information otherwise.
nice. Well, whoever your influences were, obviously did good stuff, man. I mean, you're a gem, brother. You're a gem. Protect this man at all costs. This one might be loaded. It's the last one. This might be a loaded question. How can women anglers be taken more seriously in the industry? You're an insider. I mean, you've been through the whole gamut from inside, outside, inside kind of thing. You have a take on that at all? It's loaded. That's a loaded one. Holy shit.
I feel like, let's say there's 100 fishing influencers, right? Well, there's only like 5% or something that are women. Let's just say 5. So 5 out of 100. So 95 out of 100 you can't take seriously anyways. So that's why if out of those 4 women, 4 or 5 you can't take seriously, it's not a gender related thing. It's just that most people you can't take seriously anyways. So if you're in the very small minority where you are 100% devoted to fishing and that's all you do, you're going to be noticed and you're going to have opportunities come your way anyways. A lot of people are always saying like, how do I get a big break? What do I do with this or that? And it's like, they're only 5 or 10% invested in fishing and they're asking how to get more involved. And it's like, if you're really wanting to be fully invested in fishing, you need to be fully invested in fishing. You look at someone like Ashley Ray over in Toronto area, or I think she's from the same town as Avril Lavigne. What's that, Napanee or something on Bay of Quinte?
Nepean.
That's how it's pronounced?
Nepean, Ontario, like it's outside Ottawa.
It's right on Bay of Quinte, isn't it? Napanee?
Oh, Napanee. That's a different place. Nepean. Whatever. Ontario.
Anyways, someone like Ashley at like long ago, like however many years ago, was all in on fishing and doing everything with fishing around the clock, and all sorts of opportunities have come her way. You've probably met her over the years. All of you guys probably have.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's got all sorts of opportunities not because she's a girl and not because of anything in particular, aside from the fact that she's been fully invested in it for that long. So I don't think it needs to be a gender thing as much as just whoever this specific person is wants to be taken more seriously, just keep pursuing every opportunity that comes their way and it'll fall into place. I think that,
that's good advice for just anyone trying to.
It's well said, man.
In any genre, right? Yeah, there you go. Cool. The forward-facing one is going to be a thing. We're gonna keep on that. We're gonna keep going. All kinds of comments here. Appreciate everyone for joining us here today. Aaron Wiebe. I mean, he's not done yet. He's got he's back, like they said. I don't think he ever went away. He's back in a big way though, and he's talking about fish handling. Get him back in quick. Liberia Park, when I met you were 11-ish. Ryan Knutson, way back. That's way back in the day, brother.
Yep. I remember picking Ryan's brain at Liberia Park and learning about stuff from him and all sorts of other people. You guys know who Stu Thompson is, kind of the father of fly fishing in Manitoba. I remember meeting Stu at the shore at Liberia Park and, you know, gleaning anything I could from him. And then he was like, well, if you want to get into fly fishing, I'm doing a fly tying course at the fishing hole. And I was enlisted in immediately and was there, like, you know, a couple weeks later doing the fly tying course with him and just getting plugged in however I get plugged in. I saw Chad Wadham just said that Muskie Cup is fish friendly, and it definitely is. And congratulations to Chad who won this year, Muskie Cup.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's Manitoba
best,
team too, right?
Nice.
Manitoba team won it. Yeah.
For kicker fish, take a look at that trophy. That is aspirational. That is what all tournaments should be striving for, because like
The
to
wood
hoist
bowl?
that cup,
It's a big
that
wood.
Muskie Cup,
Giant one,
it's
isn't
epic. It's the size of the Stanley Cup. Like it makes the whole event.
it? Yeah.
I think Schultz wants to do something on the Manitoba side. He was asking about something there. All these Muskie guys, anyway. I'll get into it eventually myself too. We'll see. Yeah. No, cool, man. So we should stay tuned for a video then again. Are you like, I mean, stay tuned as in 6 months or stay tuned as in
How long? How long is this next
days?
video coming out? You gonna tell us?
Nope.
Nope.
Hey, the thing about it is that like my life is in a place where I can be available for anything and be available for nothing kind of thing. So it's like, you know, maybe I'll get distracted with something else and whatever. But there's things in the works. Like there should be more videos soon, I'm sure.
You're not running
Good
for
to hear, man.
politics again, are you?
Awesome.
This Sunday, Aaron was supposed to be in it. You and Perrick would have been a good team. The Eskimo Q2 at Warner Road is on February 4. That's coming up. So we got all the teams here. 29 are competing in this one, including the invisible team there. They'll be in it. But get your guesses in. Tune in. Starting 9:30, live coverage on Sunday on YouTube on the Kickerfish channel. If you're new to the channel, give us a sub here. Give us a sub. Give us a follow on Instagram, Kickerfish. Check out the website. The website launches tomorrow morning, actually. Kickerfish.ca, new website there. We've got Aaron Wiebe in the house. And you got one more job for you, brother. You just got to pick the Beast of the Week. You know that, brother, man. You got to pick the Beast of the Week here, bro.
Hey, will Chase and Tanner be at Q2?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're going to be in it.
Okay, look out. Junior
Yep.
Bansel, Michael Rivet, congrats on the first one, but the Kings are back. Look out.
It's on their favorite side, too, out of Warner. Tech videos
I
are both
wish-
sides. I was going to say
I
this.
wish you guys would
What's
let
that,
us fish more, like fish individual tournaments, and then I'd
I
be
know.
at one or two of them, but having to fish all of them is a pretty big commitment.
4 tournaments, bro. Come on. You could do it.
One of them. It's like a month apart, each one.
This fish here, I went to go yesterday to go drill some holes for my buddy's retention pond in Winnipeg, north part of Winnipeg, because they're making a skating rink. So I had the eye on I'm drilling holes. And then I come back to one of the holes there to go poke on another one that he had made. And there's a fish swimming in there. And I did, like, that's just, I wonder if all the retention ponds have fish in them.
Is that the
Well,
only picture you have for us? We can't even
That's
see what it is.
Only one. Because after that,
What?
it turned around and
Gone.
After that, it's in the minnow and mac and cheese.
I closed its mouth and turned it around and sent it back down the hole. But
You've never fished. You
looked
never
like a
fished
chub.
the retention ponds,
well, this one's in North Winnipeg, so I got to go back.
dude.
and fish it.
Margaret Grant. I used to fish there all the time.
Really? And there's fish in there?
Catfish, bullhead. I caught walleye,
Carp,
caught
Walleye.
goldfish.
carp. Yeah,
Because they come in from the Red River there. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
right.
Yeah. No, I see it. Beast of the Week brought to you by Team Fui Automotive. $100 contender this week will be, although we've got some kids ones, Brandon Elliott's son, Jacob, 7 years old. Fantastic getting in there.
Nice.
Island Beach is, we got prizes for all the kids. Everyone who enters a fish. So get him in for February. Coming up right away, 5 years old here. Nice work, Little Animal Jackson. And one more, Draco, Tim Butler's son there. That's fantastic. Look at
That's
that.
awesome, man.
I like it. Those are the kids. They're all getting prizes from Island Beach Custom Lures. Okay, this is a contender. He got it back right away. He released it right after the photo was back in. Scott Miscavige, 29-inch beefcake of a greenback. That's nice. Out of
Nice.
the truck.
Fish,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Brandon Pilgrim's doing well out there. Good job.
Nice.
30 inches. He's on a
Out
roll.
of the 30. Yeah.
Give Brandon Pilgrim Outdoors. Give him a follow on YouTube as well. Dr. Marsman was out for crappie.
See,
Same
look.
place Aaron did his video, I think.
Same spot. He's fishing in my old holes.
He's fishing the old holes.
Look, they got the same look on their face. The both of them. I'm telling you.
Send payment back down there. He needs to get back. Marcy, nice. First ever master angler perch. 1, 2, 3, 4. All I do is count freaking stripes on perch now because
Thanks, Aaron.
Hey, you can tell it's 8 when you glance at it and it looks like tons. Like that looks like just normal, but when it looks like tons, count it, it'll be 8. It's very obvious. And there is a bunch out of West Shoal right now that are coming out at 8. Like some lakes have more genetics for that than others. This is a Lake of the Prairies fish, it looks like, and I haven't really seen many from Lake of the Prairies that have. It says Lake of the Prairies, yeah. I haven't seen many from Lake of the Prairies.
April Willis's dad, first ever master angler walleye come out of Lake of the Prairies as well.
Master, yeah.
Awesome.
Congrats, sir. Nice work there. Good job. And General Melagrito, multiple time winner of Beast of the Week, and he's got another contender here, 26-inch tiger trout. Beauty.
Nice fish, man.
All right. Who's the winner, Aaron? This is just you. One and done. You pick, and that's that for there.
I mean, there's a lot of good ones there, but it's got to be Mark Vermette with the dolphin. If that's a real, is that a real entry? Because that's the clear winner in my mind.
Why not?
There you go. Yes.
Like that's amazing.
Beast of the Week brought to you by Team Fui Automotive. Aaron Wiebe, the one and only, the GOAT. The GOAT. Stay tuned. More stuff coming, man. Appreciate you, brother, man. You guys any got a last parting words for Mr. Wiebe?
No, but thanks for putting out a couple of videos back to back to get the world talking again.
More videos soon, bro.
There's Mark. Woo-hoo!
We're all waiting.
Funny shit. All right, man. Okay, cool. Join us again next week. We're gonna keep on this. We got to get Jamie Bruce on, but we're gonna have the results from our Q2, and we'll recap that. All the big fish caught on a Warner Road this Sunday. Be safe out there. There are open cracks. There is open water out there. It's crazy. So be safe wherever you are, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye. Awesome.